Hello CraftDee Family, and welcome to another tutorial by She's So Crafty. For today's DIY project, we will be creating a pair of rustic style wall decor pieces that will be a beautiful addition to your home decor. Now, I was inspired to create these by a piece that I saw online, and I knew that I had a few items from the Dollar Tree that I could use to recreate this look. Now, I have provided the list of supplies and tools used to make these projects in the description box below. Now, I am super excited to share this tutorial with you, but before we start, I wanted to say hello and welcome back to my awesome subscribers and visitors to my channel. Now, if you are a new visitor to my channel today and you love to create fun and easy DIY projects on a budget, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and also click that notification bell so you will be the first to know when a new DIY tutorial is ready to share with you. So now, let's just jump right into this project. Now here is the inspiration photo for this project. Now I absolutely love the rustic look of the metal panels and how the wood looks really weathered and aged. Now I thought that this would be a good blend into a farmhouse or even an industrial look. Now this piece was $83.99, but I knew I could recreate it using Dollar Tree and inexpensive supplies for under $5 each. Now for this project, we'll need an assortment of peel and stick tiles from the Dollar Tree. We'll need 2 of these 1x2x8 pieces of wood from the Home Depot for $1.18, and here is just an end piece to show you the texture and the information. We'll also need a piece of foam board from the Dollar Tree. Now the first thing we're going to do is to cut the wood down to size, and for a set of 2 shutters we're going to need 4 pieces at 27 inches and 8 pieces at 7 inches. Now if you don't have a means to cut the wood, most Home Depot stores will cut it for you at no charge. So now we can move on and stain the wood, and I'll be using my favorite Jacobian stain by Minwax. Now for the shorter sticks, we're just going to apply the stain to the front and the sides of all of the pieces. And then once those are all completed, we can start on the longer sticks. And for these, we want to make sure that you stain the ends as well, since those will be exposed in the project. And once those are all stained, we can go ahead and sit them out to dry. So now grab those peel and stick tiles, and we will be using 3 tiles per display piece. Now these look great as they are, but they can be displayed in your frame as it looks now, but I will add a paint to update them to resemble the inspiration piece. So we're going to start with the silver pieces, so just set those copper ones to the side. Now I'll be adding some of this pavement gray and some black acrylic paint to give it a new look. Now I'm just going to take a dry chip brush, and then I want to add a bit of that paint randomly over the tile, and I want to create a tarnished look. Now between applying the paint, I'm just going to dab it with a paper towel to blend in any hard edges. And here is what they look like. And now both of the silver tiles are completed, and now we can work on our copper tiles. Now I'll be using some of this silver paint to kind of tone down that copper color. Now I want to start by dabbing that silver paint all over the tile until it is covered. And then I'm going to dab off some of that paint to create a varied look. And then I'm going to follow up by adding a little bit of that black and gray mixture to the tile. And then I'm just going to blend them in with a paper towel. And here is the look that we're going for. Now we're just going to repeat this for the other copper tiles. So now that these are all done, we're going to seal it in with some nice Mod Podge. You just want to apply 1 coat to each of the tiles and then let them dry thoroughly. And then while those dry, take your piece of foam board and we're going to mark it at 9 inches from the side edge. And then draw a line to connect all those marks. And then we're going to mark it down 9 inches from the top, making a 9-inch square. Now we're going to repeat this until we have 6 9-inch squares. And once those are all drawn, we're just going to take the ruler and an X-Acto knife and carefully cut out each one of those squares. So now we can take our dried up tiles and we'll be applying them to those foam board squares. Now you just want to peel them off and make sure that you apply them to the very center of each one of the foam squares. And then once they are all applied, we can move on to assembling our wood frames. And now that the wood pieces are dry, what we want to do is grab 4 of the short pieces and 2 of the long pieces. Now I'm going to be using my grid mat to make sure that everything lines up nice and even. I'm going to flip the pieces right side down and then evenly space the shorter pieces in between those longer pieces. And then go ahead and measure it to make sure there are 7 inches in between the sections. Now I'm going to use a Sharpie to make a mark so we know where to line up the pieces when we glue them into place. Now I'm going to be using a high temperature glue gun, and I also will be using these wood glue sticks by Surebonder. And then I'm just going to glue those short pieces onto one side of the frame, matching up those marks that we made. And then once that dries, go ahead and add hot glue to the other end. And then place on the other side of the frame. Now to make sure it's secure, I'm going to drill pilot holes into the side of the frame so we can add screws. We want to make sure that the holes go into those shorter pieces. And then I'm going to grab 8 number 6 2-inch screws to secure the frame together. And now we're just going to apply one of those screws into each one of those pilot holes. And then just repeat this for a second frame if you're making 2. Now to cover the screws, I'm just going to be mixing some brown and black acrylic paint and dab some on each one of those screws to kind of blend it in. Now before we add our tiles, I will need to trim it down just a bit. So I'm just going to trim off 1/4 of an inch off the top and bottom of each one of the tile pieces. And now that those are all trimmed, you can just grab one of your frames, and what we're going to do is start to apply the tiles to the back. Now you do want to make sure that the images are nice and centered on the front. And once it is centered, take a few pieces of painter's tape and tape it on each side. And then what you want to do is just go ahead and repeat this for the remainder of your tiles. Now to secure them in place, I'm just going to use a staple gun and staple the corners of each tile. And once the tiles are all secure, just go ahead and remove that painter's tape. And then repeat this for the second frame if you're making one. Now to hang our pieces, I will be using a piece of jute twine with knotted ends. Now I'm just going to take that twine and apply it to the top of the wood frame, and I'm going to secure it with 2 staples on each end. Now I did decide that I wanted to distress the frame a bit at the last minute, so what I'm doing is taking a piece of 100 grit sandpaper and I'm sanding all the way around the frame, removing some of that stain to create a nice worn and weathered look. And here is what the frame will look like after sanding. You can take as little or as much off as you like. And then I'm just going to repeat this for the second frame, and this project is complete. So now you can hang up your pieces and add any decor that you like. I am really loving how these turned out. Now the pictures really don't do these justice in the highlighting of all these beautiful details in these Dollar Tree tiles. And they really do resemble weathered metal, and they're a perfect complement to the wood frame. You guys have to let me know what you think of this project in the description box below. Listen, if you love DIYs on a budget, give this video a thumbs up and share this video with your friends. Make sure that you're following She's So CraftDee on Facebook for the latest news, sneak peeks, and giveaways. Thank you so much for visiting and checking out my tutorial today. If you like videos like these and you don't want to miss the next one, make sure you're subscribed by clicking that subscribe button below and turning on that notification bell. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.